Hello and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 151. We made it, guys. Yesterday we were on episode 150, and it was a crowning achievement. Over 3 years of the show, we finally crested, 3 groups of 50 numbers of the show. Not a great achievement at all, really, in any way, but it's a round number, divisible by 10 and 50 and 5 and 3. So, yeah, anyway. I'm not going to do the entire factor tree for 150 here on the show, but I will tell you that my name is Weldon, and this is the show where you ask me questions. You can ask them in Discord now. You can also ask them on Twitter using the hashtag AskWeldon, but the Discord link, which is down below this video, will take you to the Discord where there's a channel called The Ask Weldon Show. You can type your question there. I prefer that you ask your question by way of audio. As you will hear, there will be 2 audio questions on the show. I have a bot in Discord that you can use to record it. There's little instructions in the channel. Sometimes it doesn't work. I'm trying to figure that out, but in the meanwhile, you can also just record an audio anywhere you like and throw it in the Ask Weldon Show channel. I will download it and play it on the show. Make sure to add a little description or something of what the question is so that if I get a lot of spam questions, I can filter through the best ones. And obviously, since you're asking it, I'm sure your question's amazing. And so if you tell me what it is, obviously it will win out over all the others. All right. What updates do I have? TSM went 0-2 this weekend. I reviewed the first game versus C9, the second game versus Clutch Gaming, I think, maybe. I don't even remember because I didn't see it. I just kind of hid under a pillow the whole time. I might review that if you are interested. If you are, leave a comment down below and let me know. Otherwise, I will not review it, and I'll do Echo Fox or Optic or C9, one of C9's games. Maybe Echo Fox for C9 would be really fun. Diving into updates on my personal life, not much there. I'm in Berlin this week. It's probably my last week in Berlin for a while, so this show will move to the live show, by the way, the live show, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon, will move to 4:30 a.m. Helsinki time starting next week and lasting for a while. So there'll be a really consistent schedule there. If you wanted to check it out, make sure to do a little time zone change from... why is this title thing playing over and over and over again? How do I get rid of it? Okay, I'm just going to go here. Sorry, guys. Make sure you do a little time zone between Helsinki and where it is you live and find out when it would be 4:30 there. Actually, one of my favorite apps, this is Weldon's Tools, by the way. I have a webpage for that, mindgames.gg/TOOLS. Time Buddy. See that? Time Buddy. I think on the internet, you just go to Time Zone Buddy or World Time Zone. Yeah, World Time Buddy. That's what it is, World Time Buddy. And you can put in any number of different locations, and it's literally like the best app ever for figuring out time zone overlays. So you can just type in your town, delete the other ones, and put in Helsinki, and you can see exactly when it's 4:30 in Helsinki, what time it is where you are. AM, that's in the morning. And then you can go to my channel, twitch.tv/mindgamesweldon. You hit the post notification buttons, follow, and then you'll get a little pop-up on your phone saying when I'm live. You can throw your phone in your pocket, plug your headphones in, turn on audio only on the Twitch app on the phone, and you can just listen to this whole show live, and you can pull it out, type your questions in chat, and I will answer them as well. So that's the updates. Why don't we dive into the show? First question is about college and college major choices.
Hi, Weldon. I'm starting community college in the coming fall, and I have some long-term goals to get a master's in sports psychology and a PhD in clinical psychology. During my first 4 years of college, what kind of courses should I focus on, and what would you advise I get my bachelor's in?
Okay. So it was sports psychology, master's, and a clinical psychology PhD. And then what about the first 4 years? So it's a lot easier to go into a master's in psychology if you have a bachelor's in psychology. And if you want to do sports psychology, it's also good to have a sporting background. I recommend a sport and exercise psychology master's. 100%. It's way better if you do sport and exercise psychology combined, because the the sports psychology field is not a field where you just go in and you apply with a resume to a bunch of positions and you get a job. It's not like that. So what you should do is you should get exercise psychology, because in 10 years, there's going to be a large number of positions where you get hired to be an exercise psychology trainer. And then you can work your 9 to 5 while building your sports psychology career kind of independently. So that is what I would recommend, is make sure you get the exercise tacked onto that. In order to assist with that, it would help to be able to do physical training. This is one way into a lot of sports teams. Let's say you want to get into a sports team for mental, right? Being able to say, hey, I can do physical training and strength and conditioning training is a really great leg up. So if you have any sort of physical training degree, you can do physical tests such as the skin fold test. You can do fitness tests. If you can take and draw blood and do various tests from that, then you have a huge leg up just being able to go into a sports team and then start working on the medical angle or the psychological angle there. So a bachelor's degree that's mixed, like a dual major between psychological studies and sports science, is what I would have done if I could start over. Right now, I am sitting on a bachelor's degree in mathematics and English. So it's pretty irrelevant what you study. If you actually want something, you'll accomplish it, I think. I went and I did my master's. I did some makeup work, and then I did my master's in sports psych, and exercise psych, by the way, as well. And I can tell you, after I graduated, this was even in 2012, there were a bajillion jobs for exercise psychology trainers, and there was zero for sports psychology. You have to build your own company and build your own brand for sports psych. It's not like a field where there's a job waiting for you. And there will not be either in 10 years. So yeah, and the idea of getting clinical psych for your PhD, I guess that's sure. Why not? If you want to keep going on and doing that, that's fine. You can also just do master's level therapy, so you can focus on doing clinical at the bachelor's level and the master's level, and you can pass the exams and become clinical far before you finish a PhD. So that might interest you, to just get licensed instead of going for your PhD if you just want to do practical stuff. But if you want to do research, if you want to sit in a lab, wear a lab coat to pretend to be a natural scientist, because you always see this like psychology researchers in labs like wearing a lab coat as if they're going to spill chemicals on themselves or some stupid thing. And you want to, like, I don't know, do neuroscientific tests on the reaction speed and learning of rats as you puff air in their eyes for 4 years, and your job is to like clean out the cages while you're doing your dissertation. Or if you want to, I don't know, there's a lot of other fun pieces of research that psychology grads, postgrads do, and I'm sure that your PhD proposal is going to be amazing and it's going to be fun. But I'm kind of poo-pooing PhDs right now, but I'm actually thinking of going back to get my PhD starting in December, or this fall. But we'll see about that. Anyway, good luck on your career path. I suggest something mixing sport and psychology in your first 4 years. You should go to a school that has a lot of different options in the sporting field, because a lot of schools do not have many different options. You can't, in sport sciences for the undergrad level, it's just like PE teaching, and you have to be an educator. And that's no fun. You want to study kinesiology or biomechanics or sport medicine or physical therapy or something like that. So if you go to a big state school like U of M or University of Central Florida, those places will have those kind of things. All right. Thanks for the question. Question number 2 is a text question from Discord. Where did I type this out? All right. Let me scroll up and read it. Have you ever gone into what I like to call a practice rage, where you practice, this is from Matt on Discord, by the way, where you practice your instrument, your sport, your esport, your body, whatever, with such a focus that you literally don't feel the practice anymore, because you've been practicing practice to the point where you feel like you are one with the practice? And if you could give a sort of rundown of what all that is from the psychological standpoint, it makes me feel kind of literally insane when I do it. Also, from the neurological standpoint, that would be awesome. Okay, so I don't have enough information to answer this question. I don't know what state you're experiencing. I would need to ask you, I would need to ask more probing questions. The first question I would be is, do you experience time dilation when you're in this state? So does time seem to run slower or faster? Do you experience deja vu in terms of prediction of the future, like predication, like you can see what is coming, like slightly in the future? Do you experience Do you experience... There's all sorts of other ways to question this. I guess I would need you to describe the experience even more. But basically, I just want to know if it's flow state or not. If it's flow state, then I understand the experience and I understand what's happening there psychologically. Basically, I want you to think of a pie graph, right? And usually you have this is the amount of focus you have in your brain when in the present, and it's like, let me guess Matt's focus here. We got 20%, what am I going to eat next? 40% League of Legends game. 17%, why is my bot feeding? 13%, why is my jungler ganking my lane? And then like at 19%, I wonder if the support is a chick, and if so, how hot is she? And do you think that we can start dating? So that's your like normal amount of focus in a given game. And then when you're in the flow state, you have 100% of your focus is on one thing, and you forget all other like sensory signals still get to your brain. Like you still get vision, you still get sound, you still get touch. It goes up there, but then your brain it bounces off. It's like boop, in one ear and out the other, as your parents used to say. So you have essentially complete and utter focus on a single thing, which is causing you to essentially ignore everything else, including the sense of time in a funny kind of way. And yeah, it's a really great performance state. It's a really great learning state because you can make errors without any judgment because your judgment thing is turned off. You're just like in the zone, right? So you're not even thinking about what you're doing. You're just doing. So you're essentially able to learn without incriminating yourself. It's a great state that we try to force teams into because judgment is one of the things that really holds back risk-taking and proper risk-taking. People either want to be great, so they make a move, or they're afraid of being a fool, so they don't make a move, instead of just doing the right thing, right, where their limits lie, and trying to experience joy through that flow. So that is a great state for practice and for learning and for performance as well, because it's a fearless state. And it's one where you can essentially perform at 100% of what you are capable of. It doesn't mean you win if you're in flow state. It means that you perform it at your max. But if your max is not good enough, then you lose the game to the other guy, even if they're not in flow state. And from a neurological standpoint, I don't know much about it. I don't think that we actually know much about it, honestly. I've been keeping up with research on it up until around 2014. I think that I've read almost every neurological study I could find on flow state, but there's a little bit of description of what it is neurologically, but there's not a lot of description of how we can achieve it or why it's different, why it's fundamentally experienced different in a psychological perspective from, normal consciousness in a way. So yeah, that's my answer about that. Not very insightful, but thank you for the question. Anyway, Matt, and remember that's on Discord. If you want to ask your own question, you can hop down on Discord. I don't know if you guys like not showing the cool training room I'm in right now, but this is the dojo scrim room that they loan out to teams when teams come in boot camp here. They have like 5 supercomputers basically, like top end of the top end of the top end. This one actually is a VR machine. And then they have 1, 2, 3, 4 off computers, which are like just a year old, but not the top end anymore. And they have these competitive monitors and like insane keyboards and mice. It's pretty sick. And then of course I'm in the office, so if they want a sports psychology boot camp, they can just come down the hall and knock. It's a pretty sexy place to train. All right, jumping into the last question. Before I do, I want to recommend that you at least check out this page, mindgames.gg/Mac. I'm not advertising some other sponsor or something. This is me. This is my website, mindgames.gg, and this is my program. It's a program that I essentially pioneered. I won't say invented because technically in 2004 there was a book that came out that was titled this, but I have modified it so heavily it is almost unrecognizable from its original state, and it is now a like everyday lecture training program essentially. And when I'm working with pro teams, as my career advanced, I was able less and less to just do stuff with people who in my Twitter inbox or who emailed me. And so I started making this program in 2014. This is the third version of it, actually. The fourth one is kicking off today. I'm actually meeting with a programmer to kind of tackle the next I would say, I'm going to make this banner stop there. Oh, well, okay, it's going to play one more time, but then it's not going to replay again after that. Anyway, I'm meeting with a programmer today to look into developing even the next version of this, which will wrap all the content in a much prettier experience and make it more motivating to be in and things like that. So I've had comments from graduates of the program. I think that there's basically two outcomes. One is you actually achieve your rank goals, like you rank up and you get better, you get the focus that you need to perform, and you improve your learning and you achieve your goals in terms of ladder climb, or you quit playing video games completely. Those are like the two main things that happen when I hear back from people who graduated from this program. It's online videos, by the way. It's just an online video course, right? So it's just like a bunch of videos online as a course, and you buy access and you log in, and there they are. And you progress through them one at a time. There's 49 of them, 7 modules over 7 weeks. It's very structured internally, like the way that I go through the content. Because I used to be a university lecturer for 4 years, 6 years depending on your accumulation of hours, depending on how you look at my years working. But anyway, the pedagogy was my focus. And so I designed this program in a very pedagogical way. And I'm very disappointed with the lack of tools available for making it even more interesting, which is why, by the way, I'm developing that app. And anything you spend on the program now goes directly into that. The proceeds for this support this channel and support the development of this app. They don't necessarily feed me at this moment. Although hopefully in the future they will feed my kids. We'll see about that. 100% guarantee, you can see the little thing right there. That just means that you can get a refund anytime you want. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. It does mean that you can just say, hey, this isn't my cup of tea, and you will have it back. Hopefully I won't have spent it on the programmer yet. But hang on, can you wait till somebody else buys it, and then I'll give you his money back, and then we'll enter into a Ponzi scheme. But yeah, anyway, that could be really bad if everybody wanted their refund now. Maybe I should put a time limit on this, because if everybody came and asked for refunds, I don't have the money anymore. I've been spending it on programming and cameras and stuff. So one camera. I bought one used DSLR camera for 250 euros to make sure that my videos in North America, not in North America, in Finland are very, very high quality. But anyway, this is the program. It's basically meditation training combined with lectures. It's what I do with the pro teams, now offloaded into video courses, and I recommend heavily that you check it out. If you use the code AskWeldon, as you see down below in the video description, AskWeldon at checkout, you get a $5 discount. And I know that you saw this ad from YouTube, and that is where you're buying it from. All right, let's jump into the last question, folks. This is going to be loud, so I gotta turn it down first. I remember this. Aren't you glad I remembered this? Oh, I almost.
Hey, Weldon. I just have a question for you. I was having a bit of trouble with Discord, so I decided to upload via an online recording service. My question is regarding esports. I'm personally wondering what your opinions are on whether or not esports should be in the Olympics, and whether or not we will eventually see esports as the dominant sport type in our culture, that being North America or the Asian countries, if you prefer. But yeah, I was wondering if you had any thoughts on this. I know you're well versed in the esports scene, so I definitely appreciate your opinion. Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Let's see. Nelg. Thank you for the question, Nelg. I'm not exactly sure who you are, but Nelg is as appropriate name as any name that I see online, so we'll go with that. All right, so yes, there is research on this. It's mostly descriptive research, not predictive. So it's saying like this is what's been happening so far, and this is what has happened in history. And one of the best ways you can familiarize yourself with the history of sport is to read From Ritual to Record by Alan Gutman, who's a sport anthropologist. That is anthropology, the study of humans, essentially, and sport anthropology, the study of sport within humanity through time. And the development of modern sport specifically is what that book is concerned with, from ritual to record. So sport transitioning from this ritualistic thing to this record-breaking thing, where we record things and we try to strive to break records and achieve like feats. And there's a number of other different lenses to look at the development of modern sport and the development of esport, but I prefer to break it down really simply into there are three things that could happen. There's only three things that can happen, and one of these is going to happen, and I kind of have predictions about which one, but I'll let you guys predict first. So first thing that could happen is that traditional sport and esport merge. So the hegemonic, we call hegemony is the dominant force, right? So if you say hegemonic masculinity in the 60s, it would be the kind of thing that people are saying. That's misogynistic nowadays, right? And if you say, if you look at, like, for example, metrosexual males or people who, grow up and they want to play video games, or they're a jock but they don't want to socialize and drink, you would say, like, for example, I was on a lot of sports teams. I lettered in like every single season in sport in high school, but I didn't hang out with the jocks. I was in the band, and I was in theater, and then I was going out on the sport field, and I was like the captain, right? So it was a really weird experience for me in high school because you couldn't really pick on me in the hallway because I was huge, but at the same time, I would get bullied just like all the other band nerds. But like I wasn't a band nerd because I was lettering on the sports team. So people is well, and it didn't really matter because I went to a redneck bar town, high school. So there was just like it was a miserable experience anyway. Aside from all of the amazing things that happened, the crap that happened was miserable. But my point being that I didn't fit into the hegemonic masculine model, right? So when I say hegemonic, what I mean is like the dominant kind of, like, you would say, stereotypes of how it is that you should be a certain way. Same thing happened when I was on the swim team in university. And I was just like, oh, I don't actually drink and party and smoke marijuana and do all these things that I'm supposed to do if I'm on the swim team. Instead, I go play Counter-Strike. So, and I was training that in my off time. And then I was doing my homework, which worked out really well, by the way. So I had like a nice balance. There was like swimming training, and then CS 1.6 training, and then homework. And then I got a girlfriend, and I started failing classes. So I had to give up something. So I just quit classes. And then I was like, this isn't going to work because I'm going to get kicked out of school. So then I quit swimming. Just stuck with the video games and the girlfriend and the studies. All right. So there's a lesson for you guys. Give up running if you want more time for video games. Anyway, what was the question about anyway? Oh yeah, so right now the dominant form of sport, as the way sport is defined by culture right now, sport is defined by culture, okay? If you try to define sport for me, you won't be able to. If you try to say, oh, sport is a thing that's like where you have to run around and be really fit. No, it isn't, because we just watched curling on the Olympics, okay? Like there's pool, there's poker, there's shooting. That you can't tell me that somebody who's shooting trap and has this big beer gut and is like medaling in the Olympics as a sport, or somebody who's sailing and is like not very fit and can't run around very much, but is like winning gold medals as a sport and has sponsorships from Nike, right? So we've collectively decided that's a sport, right? So sport is culturally defined. If you try to say, oh, but it involves gross motor movement, so it doesn't involve like just the brain, like psychic kind of like mental stuff. It's like gross motor movement. You have to be moving your muscles like as controlled from your torso, not just from your fingers. Well, I'm sorry to say, but actually all the reaction-based esports, so we're including CSGO, League of Legends, not Hearthstone, unfortunately. The shoulder is actually the dominant controller for the motor movement, so it is a gross motor movement. And on top of that, it's very shown now that fitness is a fundamental factor in learning in esport. I mean, if you look at gamers in 2012, 2013, League of Legends, Season 1, 2, and you look at teams now, what do you see? Do you see a lot of overweight gamers anymore? No, because they're all retired, because they can't hack it. Because you have people on TSM training 3 blocks a day, going to the gym an hour a day, eating like super healthy, being incredibly fit, incredibly aerobically fit, and then out training other people, and everybody else who can't maintain that lifestyle and is not super fit is falling away because you have to be athletic essentially. So sport is culturally defined, right? So we have this definitional cultural sport, and either esport will join it and become a hegemonic sport. It'll become a part of the hegemonic view of sport. So the world will generally accept it as like part of what sport is, or it'll become countercultural. Okay, skateboarding for decades was the countercultural version of sport where it has its own sponsors, it had its own X Games, it had its own entire universe, and it didn't need traditional sport. It was doing its own thing, and people were making a living doing it, right? So it became countercultural to the hegemonic definition of sport, and that's the way it went. Now I think skating is literally in the next Olympics, which is super bizarre because it's the Olympics actually that has been kind of pushing the boundaries on this. Which is kind of strange because they're usually super conservative. But at the same time, they started having snowboarding and skateboarding, and now they're doing esport. Like they had the StarCraft 2 tournament like as a test in Pyongyang before the Winter Olympics. So yeah, kind of weird because I hate the International Olympic Committee, but they seem to be trying to stay relevant, which kudos to them. Yeah, so that's the other option. Esport could go non-hegemonic and just be countercultural, or one or both of them could take over. Esport could take over, and traditional sport could become the beta. So esport becomes the dominant hegemony of like, this is what sport is, and traditional sport is like this weird kind of countercultural side thing that a few people do. Those are the three options, folks. So it's going to be one of the three. I don't think it's going to be the third one. I don't think it's going to be the second one. I think it's going to be the first one, but that's the answer. If you want to know the answer, that is what it is. Okay, that's the show for today. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. The sun is rising over Berlin in front of me, out the window. It's looking beautiful, and I'm excited to get out and start tackling my day. I hope that you guys have a fantastic day. Remember to check out the Mac program. Remember to leave a question for the show. The show is literally fueled by your curiosity. And if you don't go and leave a question, the show dies. I'm going back to 2016 for Twitter questions now, you guys. That's pretty desperate. So I would like to see a large influx, an explosion, a Cambrian age level mass birth of organic questions popping into the Discord and onto Twitter. I know that I changed the format a lot. Like I had a really good flow because I spammed the same thing over and over again with the Anchor app. Now we've abandoned that. We're going with Discord. We're just going to make the switch. It's going to be the last switch that I do up until I have like a regular app. Okay. But and I apologize for that. And I know that's why the questions are dipping down, but you can always just write a question on Twitter and use the hashtag AskWeldon. There's, 240 characters or something now. You're not limited anymore. You can really put a deep question on there, or you can just go into the Discord channel and type it. You can open it in your browser. You don't even need to download the Discord app. It's possible to reach Discord in the browser now and just type it right in. So give it a shot, leave a question, like this video, subscribe to this channel, leave a comment down below, whatever all the other stuff you're supposed to say if you're a YouTuber that I don't really care about. Mostly I just want you to join me for the live show on Twitch because that's where the fun happens. Bye, YouTube. I'm going to Twitch now. Ciao.